They say Cleopatra ended her life with a snake bite. The most powerful woman in the ancient world, reduced to myth, holding an asp to her skin in a final tragic act of defiance. But what if that story was never true at all? What if it was a carefully constructed Roman lie to cover something darker? The death of Cleopatra VII, the last pharaoh of Egypt, has echoed through history as one of its most dramatic moments. But behind the legend lies a suspicious silence. Her empire was collapsing. Mark Antony, her closest ally and lover, had just taken his own life after hearing false news of her death. Octavian, Rome's rising power, was on the verge of victory. But the real question is this: did Cleopatra truly choose death, or was that choice made for her? After her defeat at the Battle of Actium, Cleopatra returned to Alexandria. Far from surrendering, she locked herself inside her mausoleum with her treasure, political documents, and closest servants. This was not desperation. It was strategy. Cleopatra was a survivor. She had convinced Julius Caesar to back her rule as a teenager. She ruled Egypt with brilliance. She aligned with Mark Antony and built a military alliance that challenged the might of Rome. She was calculating, intelligent, and fully aware of how the Roman world worked. This is what makes her death so suspicious. Octavian had every reason to keep Cleopatra alive. Roman tradition did not allow powerful enemies to disappear quietly. They were marched through the streets of Rome in chains, humiliated in front of the public, and then executed in grand fashion. It was theatrical politics. Cleopatra, alive, would have been the ultimate symbol of Roman conquest. A defeated queen paraded in front of the empire. That was what Octavian wanted. So why was she allowed to die? The only testimony about Cleopatra's final moments came from Lucius Pinarius, a Roman officer under Octavian. According to him, Cleopatra smuggled a venomous asp into her chamber and let it bite her. It was poetic, it was dramatic, and it was perfectly convenient. Too convenient. There were no neutral witnesses, no examination, no opposing account. Only one version of the truth, passed directly to the man who had everything to gain from her death. Ancient sources do not agree on how she died. Plutarch lists 3 different theories: a snake bite, poison pins, a tainted comb. Cassius Dio adds to the confusion. Some say she died with no visible wounds at all. A strange thing, considering ASP bites often leave severe swelling, open wounds, and signs of agony. Yet Cleopatra was described as looking peaceful, almost posed, like a queen in a painting, not a woman dying in pain. After her death, Cleopatra vanished from Roman records. Statues of her were torn down. Her name was scrubbed from monuments. Coins that once bore her image were replaced. Octavian, now Augustus, did not celebrate her defeat. He erased her existence, and that silence speaks volumes. Even enemies of Rome were usually remembered. Cleopatra was not mocked, she was removed. By framing her death as a suicide, Octavian rewrote the story. He did not kill a queen. He outlasted a woman destroyed by her own love and ambition. He became the hero. She became a warning, and with her out of the way, Egypt was absorbed into the empire without a single official execution. But Cleopatra was never a woman driven by passion alone. She was fluent in multiple languages. She studied astronomy and mathematics. She led naval campaigns. She outwitted rivals in court and in battle. She was not the kind of ruler to give up her life on a whim. There is another possibility. A darker one. Cleopatra may have been murdered. Silently. Cleanly. Octavian had the resources to make that happen. He had agents. He had poisons. He had motive. Killing her outright would make Rome look cruel. Forcing her to take her own life under threat of torture, the death of her children, or eternal disgrace would be far more useful. It preserved the illusion that she chose her own end, and it erased any chance of rebellion. Where is her body? No one knows. Her tomb has never been found. Some say she was cremated. Others claim she was buried beside Antony. But there is no proof, no remains, only stories. And this is important. Octavian had the power to delete people from history. He erased Mark Antony's children. He restructured the Senate. He destroyed entire libraries. Cleopatra's death was not just a political moment. It was a performance. It was a message. Rome will write the ending, and the rest of the world will believe it. So what really happened in that chamber? Was it the asp, the poison, the comb, or was it a silent execution staged to look like a legend? We may never know for sure. But when history is written only by the victors, the truth often dies in the silence. If you believe there is more to the past than what the textbooks tell you, if you want to uncover the erased queens and the forgotten betrayals and the stories Rome tried to bury, then follow Deep Dive into history, because the truth is still waiting to be found.